Mr. Cash, you want to go next?
Yeah, I first want to echo what Mr. Hall said about condolences to the family of the student at Birchfield. The accident did occur up Burgess Creek with some family affairs. I want to keep those families. There were some students at Fairview that were involved, so we'll keep them in our thoughts and prayers and way over the whole Birchfield school, community, teachers, faculty, students. Also, Miss Carlene, want to send my condolences to her and her family on their loss. We did have homecoming last night at Fairview. It went really well. We do have a basketball home game against Oneida on Thursday at 6. We also have a home game Saturday at 1 against Pine Haven. We will start our map testing next week, our winter map test. And then Mission of Hope will be at school on Thursday this week. They're doing it kind of like they did last year. They're just bringing the gifts, and the kids aren't necessarily going in. They're bringing Christmas to the kids, and then we're handing it to the kids ourselves. That's Thursday, and then jumping ahead a little bit. Wednesday, December 15th at 9 a.m. is our White Christmas program. Everybody's welcome to attend that. And we are doing it. Kids, they always sing a couple songs and bring in canned food to give to the local food bank. And the last several years, that event's really gotten big, and looking forward to having that again. Because we weren't able to have that before. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing, update, Mr. Hill and Mr. Shannon might say something too about the roofing project, Fairview. They're week 4, I think. At first he told me, Mr. Shannon, 3 to 5 weeks. I think it's running a little longer. Right now they're just over the office section, library section. They're finished with the east wing. They're over the office section. They've been on there for about a week, which you had Thanksgiving break over that. I don't know what their work schedule or Thanksgiving. They should finish up, I'm guessing, any day on that, and then they'll move over to the west wing. So I still say they're probably a couple weeks from finishing that project, but again, Mr. Shannon or Mr. Hill might know more specific on that, but everything's going well on that as well. That's all I have. Let's have anything.
Okay, thank you. Miss Amy McRobbins, do you want to go next?
Okay, can you hear me, Miss Esther?
Okay.
I can go ahead and go if you need me to. I apologize for a few moments ago.
That's okay.
Anyways, as you all mentioned, we did lose 7th grader Brennan Phillips this weekend in an ATV accident. Cannot thank everybody for their outpouring of love and prayers. A special thank you to Jody Potter and Kayla Flowers, Miss Maria Bruce, Brother Charlie Golden. They were at our school yesterday helping with counseling services for our students and our staff. The visitation is scheduled for tomorrow at 12:30, and the funeral services will be at 2 p.m. So just continue to remember that family and our school family. Also, like Mr. Cash is saying, we do have basketball games this week. Thursday night is a home game against Huntsville. It will begin at 6 p.m. Our Mission of Hope is coming as well on Friday. First Baptist Concord has kind of adopted our school. And just like Mr. Cash said, they will be doing that. Everything will already be pre-packaged, so when the students come through, they will not be having to choose those gifts for themselves. So we really appreciate all of the effort that they are taking to get that finished. And just like I said, we do start map testing on December the 6th. So that will be our winter benchmark. It just seems like it's, once December hits, everything flies by really quickly. And again, just remember the Phillips family, all the family that was affected by the accident this weekend, and our Birchfield school have some fabulous folks. But thanks everybody for all their prayers every day.
Okay, thank you. Miss Amy Jeffers, are you with us?
muted, Amy.
Okay. What about Miss Hamilton?
There she goes. There's Amy.
Miss Jeffers, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There she is. I guess the one she's trying to toggle, it's not working.
Okay, let's go on to Miss Hamilton. Miss Hamilton, can you hear us?
I can. Good evening, everyone. We too are doing testing next week. We also have Mission of Hope coming on December the 10th. We are not doing a Christmas program this year. We have decided against doing that, but we hope everything goes well for Fairview doing theirs. We have a lot of different projects and things going on. I would still like to revisit about playroom if we can, because really think we need a new building back there, or need some other classrooms. We've talked about those too. Appreciate your all's thoughts on that and helping us out. Last thing I have is that our hearts and prayers go out to the Birchfield family, family of Brennan Phillips. We are heartbroken for them.
Miss Hamilton, we didn't hear you in the beginning. Would you start over?
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you couldn't hear me. I'm sorry. Yes, we have the map test like everyone's talking about going on next week. We're not doing a Christmas program. I didn't know if you heard that part. We have some different activities going on here. We are doing pictures and things like that. We just really are hoping to support and help out with anything that anybody might need in the Birchfield family.
Okay, thank you. How about Miss Jeffers with Roberts? Want to try you again?
She's disconnected now. I messaged her, so maybe she'll respond.
Okay, let's go on to Miss Rector then.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Just a couple of updates. I won't take much time. Our regular season basketball home opener is tonight here at Scott High. It starts at 6:30. So when you finish the meeting, come out to that. We're excited about basketball season getting started. We are in the middle, or we just started end of course testing for the fall semester. We started that today. Had a few challenges this morning getting on and getting that started. It is online testing. Pearson did change that portal quite significantly. So it was quite different looking this morning and took a little bit of time to get into that, but we were able to kind of solve those problems and get students back on track with testing. We do launch into a 9-day stretch of testing. So we will be testing from today all the way through December the 10th. And so it's a bit of a marathon, not a sprint of testing. So it is always very important during the testing window for students to have good attendance, to be here. All of those subjects do have multiple parts. I believe there's only one test that has one subject, biology, that has one part. Every other subject has multiple parts, and students do have to take every part of that test in order for it to be graded and counted. So it's very important that students have good attendance throughout the window. We do have flexibility with makeup testing. If students are out a day, then we're able to do that, but they do have to take each part, and they do have to take each part in order. So it can be quite a task to make sure that happens for 600 plus students in a span of 9 days. So we are into EOC. So again, it's very important that students are here each day and that they're here on time. They will be testing in different ways. Some tests will be given during the regular class period, and then some tests will be what we call pull-out or block testing, where they will test either in the morning or in the afternoon. But again, Students have those schedules, the teachers have those schedules, they know when they're testing. But what we need parents and students to know is just that it's very important that they're here each day from now until the end of Christmas break, because for us, as soon as end of course testing is over, then we get into that last week of school, finishing up final projects, final exams for those classes that don't have end of course tests. And so it tends to get pretty busy pretty quickly. But that's the biggest thing on our plates right now is end of course testing. And that's all that I have unless you have questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Stanley with Winfield.
Okay, since Ms. Rector said that she wasn't going to take up much time, I want to take all of hers as well. We want to add to everyone else the condolences to Brennan Phillips' family and all of those at Birchfield. Also to Miss Carlene on the passing of her mother, who was also my aunt, Mildred Jeffers. In fact, Carl Jeffers, her husband, who was a preacher, was the person who married my husband and me. So Aunt Mildred was always one that had a smile on her face and a laugh in her heart. So we really send our condolences to Miss Carlene and her family. We had our reading fair on the 19th. Miss Harris did a great job in supervising and coordinating that reading fair. And we want to thank all of the students who participated in those projects. We had some fantastic projects. And also want to thank the judges. We had some consulting teachers, some assistant principals, Miss Linda Keaton, Miss Roberts, Miss Rachel A., Miss Paulette, just all the people who came and helped us with that. We really appreciate them. We will have Winter Wonderland, which is our sort of December festival. It won't be long. There is no admission. All of the classes participate. That will be on Friday, December the 10th at 6 p.m. And even though there's no admission, we will be having cakewalks and concessions. And those cakewalks are always a fantastic hit. We have some great cakes. As our people will tell you about that. The only other thing I have is you have a folder in your packets, I hope tonight, about life insurance. And I have mentioned that just very briefly with Mr. Hall, and just wanted to, we haven't had a chance really to talk about it, but I wanted to also bring it to the school board's attention that both on the website in the fringe benefits, and I've shown you where that can be found on the website, and then you also can see it that it is in our MOU from 2015 to 2018. The life insurance there says that the board shall provide a $10,000 group term life insurance for all active professional employees with an option to purchase coverage for spouse and children. Now, in the website, you will also see that it describes full-time professional certified employees and that the board pays for that original $10,000 policy, term policy. It was my understanding that that's been there as long as I can remember. I've talked to people like Linda Keaton, Marilyn King. I asked Mr. Rogers, who is president of the SCEA. Nobody knows where this has started decreasing, but I did talk with finance. And evidently that $10,000 policy that the board pays, now this is not the optional, this is the life insurance policy that every certified employee is supposed to get when they are hired on full time. That has, according to finance, it decreases with age. Now, again, I'm not talking about optional. I'm talking about the original one that the board pays for. And as you can see on the other set of papers, it does describe that the optional decreases at 65 and then again at 70. So, for example, an employee who is 65 to 69 has only 7,500 coverage. an employee who is 70 and older has only $2,000 coverage. Now that is on this optional. Nothing is stated in here about that original $10,000 decreasing. So my question is, and I talked to someone at the principals conference when I went there to Nashville, and the representative from the life insurance company, Horace Mann, said that this was up to the board, that regardless of age, the board could keep that original $10,000 policy, whether the person is 25 or 70, that was a board decision. It could be amended at any time to stay, to go, to whatever. That would be up to you all. So, you know, what I would like here, I guess, is for the board and Mr. Hall to take a look at this and see if I'm understanding this correctly. You know, according to finance, what you see on that chart is what the coverage would be, that original coverage. So, which is not our understanding. It, as I said, I've talked to Linda Keaton, I've talked to Miss Paulette, I've talked to Mr. Rogers, to various people, and no one understood that original policy would decrease. So this is something that I would like for the board, Mr. Beatty, Mr. Hall, to take a look at and see where we are on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, how about Ms. Goodman with Huntsville Middle? She's not on. Okay. What about Miss Amy? Is she?
Miss Goodman won't be with us.
Okay. All right. Mr. Keith Shannon, you want to go next?
I do. Thank you. First off, I want to make sure and extend a big thank you to the Huntsville Volunteer Fire Department. They had come by and helped us out at Scott High School when we had to issue or had an issue with the school's fire alarm system. The fire alarm system became non-operational, and the school was placed on a fire watch per Tennessee state guidelines at the time, any time that any people were in the building. Fire Chief Nathan Daggs and Assistant Chief David Stanley both performed fire watch duties at Scott High during this fire watch, and we just want to make sure and extend our appreciation to those gentlemen and the department for just, as always, helping make sure that they keep everyone inside of our schools and buildings safe. Moving to the CTE. We've completed our CLNA. This is a process designed to look at the performance of different demographics in our CTE programs. We found that there are two really big things that the state is really pushing for in our CTE programs, and kind of wanted to brag just a little bit about the state of our CTE program in regards to these big points of emphasis. The first thing is a work-based learning initiative across the state, and that again is where CTE students at our high school has the ability to go and work in everyday job settings at our local business partners, community partners. We have a couple programs already doing those work-based learning courses, but we also have developed with Ms. Rector and Mr. Ben Bruce at the high school a work-based learning course that will allow every program of study in the Scott High School to have students funneled into that work-based learning program. So that's a great opportunity for our students. Industry certifications is another thing that the state is really pushing hard for. This is the work towards and the completion of skill-based industry credentialing tests, particular to a student's program of study or area of study. We have at Scott High School right now 16 different programs of study, and almost every single one of them offers industry certifications to our students. So we're really, really proud of that, and we're going to continue to redouble efforts to make sure that our students are working towards those and hopefully getting them complete. Also, we've been working with our middle school guidance counselors, Miss Maria Bruce in particular. to help develop an 8th grade day for the CTE students to be a part of a tour of our CTE programs that are offered on campus at Scott High School. Now, this will be in unison of a tour that already existed up to the TCAT as well as to Roan State. So we'll just basically design a schedule that allows those students to go all 3 different locations in one day and really see what's out there and what's offered to them right here in our own schools. Also, we began working on spending the $223,000 plus in our Spark allocation. This again is the 3rd round of funds that's been made available by the governor's investment in vocational education, or the GIVE grant, and it's going to be really a really wonderful windfall of equipment and supplies for all of our CTE dual enrolled programs, as well as the TCAT programs up there as well. So a lot of good things coming our way in that. We've got 25 months to spend these funds, and we're getting to work as soon as those monies are available. We'll hopefully, our hopes are to have some of the first equipment coming in maybe by the end of December, if at all possible. So we'll get that on the ground as quickly as we possibly can. Maintenance crew has always been staying very, very busy trying to work through some heating issues. You know, it is what it is. Whenever it's hot, you're always dealing with air conditioners and things like that. When it's cold, it becomes the heat exchangers and things like that in our system. I know that we do have an issue at Fairview Elementary that we're trying to work through. But mainly the group had been focused on the fire marshal reports as those things come through. So they've been staying very, very busy working on doors and different things like that. The only thing that I have from the maintenance side of it on the agenda is to ask the board to please accept or to consider a bid that was submitted for the 1-ton 4x4 crew cab service truck requested by the bus garage. We did ask for that bid to be put out. It was, and there was only one bid that was submitted to the finance department. And I have forwarded in your emails the bid specification pack for that. So that's the only thing that I would have on the agenda. And that's all I've got unless anyone's got any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Greg, do you have anything?
Not much. We've just been kind of in repair and response mode. We finished rolling out the school mobile labs. So that was something that we had taken back when the pandemic first started. So now we've got those back. Probably see those being used in situations where kids may forget theirs, or in some situations have destroyed their own and need something at school. Yeah, there's been those. We had our first situation of having them taken to the pawn shops, and that person has been arrested. I want to thank the sheriff's department for, they got on board with that in a hurry. So taking that seriously will hopefully prevent that from happening, in the future. We're still waiting on processors for the computers that go with the active panels. That's pretty much the only piece that we need. As soon as we get those in, that's going to be kind of our full focus, is to start rolling those things out. And they'll go out pretty quickly. We can move, in the first day, once we get the processors in, we can start installing the next day. So hopefully that has the last update I got on that was the 9th of December, I believe it was. And so hopefully that sticks. But the shipping shortages have just been insane. Can't really think of anything else. It's going well. Just trying to stay above water.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Debbie.
Been a busy month of November. We have been busy having several manifestation meetings for some of our special ed students that have truancy issues. So we have worked well with our parents and hopefully encourage them to get their students back in school. We are seeing an increase in students at the detention centers. We actually had a meeting out there yesterday, an IEP meeting, and one today. We're seeing an increase of the court system placing students at the detention center. So that's kept us busy. Also, we're seeing a lot of younger children that are going to be coming into our district. When we have a child that is 6 months before their 3rd birthday that is receiving Tennessee Early Intervention Services, we have to meet with that case manager and have a meeting and have a plan of what we're going to do to get that child services by their 3rd birthday. So we have had maybe 4 or 5 of those meetings also. But right now, my main focus, I guess, is working on my December 1 report, trying to get our count accurate, because this is the report of our funding that we get for next school year, and also working on my private school proportionate share for students with disabilities. December the 6th through the 8th, myself and some of my teachers will be attending the TASI Legal Conference, which is always just a very good conference. It always scares us to death to think about, some of the things that we could possibly do to mess up, but it's very good for us. And then we will be starting our Ames Web benchmark winter testing after the maps is completed. And that's all I have, unless you all have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Linda, you want to go next?
Okay, like to say certainly keep Birchville families and Miss Carlin in our thoughts and prayers during this time. Also, we had a pre-K consultant from the state show up today, and I really knew that she was supposed to come this week, but she came today and spent the day at 3 of our pre-K classrooms, the Huntsville, Fairview, and Robbins, and then on Thursday she'll be back to do Birchville and Winfield. So we visited those classes today, had very, very good visits. Also this past couple of weeks ago, we completed 28 of our teachers the fall early reading training, and they have already taken their test, and they should be getting their certificate and their stipend soon for participating in that. And that was like four Tuesdays and 4 Thursdays to complete the early reading training. Then I will have to have a pre-K advisory council committee meeting and luncheon December the 10th. At least haven't had those, any of those this year. Have to have at least 2, so I'll be having that December the 10th. And also I'd like to ask the board to approve the calendar committee that I think you have that paper in your pack of stuff. So we'll be making a decision on the calendar after Christmas in January sometime. Also, just a reminder about the January 3rd in-service. That is a mandatory in-service day. It's not a day that you can switch out for other things you might have done. It's one of the 5 required days. So it will be coming up January 3rd, and it will be held in each individual school as well. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowles, did you have anything?
Yes, I got one thing for the agenda. We're gonna need 7 new school buses next year. When these buses were purchased, there's 7 04 buses, there's 8 05 buses, there's 8 06 buses. So we got some buses coming up to revolve in the next few years. But we need 7 this year to get rid of the remaining 04 buses. And we still got a few lingering 01, 02 buses. That's getting pretty ragged, so. And that would be a piggyback from Cumberland International. The prices have gone up, like everything else. For all 7 buses, you're looking at about $726,500. So they've gone up close to 10% over from last year. Just want to let the board know, we do have 2 open routes at Huntsville. One of the routes we've been doubling up all school year. So it's functioning okay. It's a little long, but we're making it work. The other one is the Cherry Fork route, and we're doing the best we can. We got another driver just yesterday is on quarantine. So we have one driver at Winfield that is on sick leave, and we've been doubling that route all year. So we do have one driver getting ready to take his practical test, December 6th. So if we get him in, get trained, that'll help ease it a little bit. But we need drivers. So if anybody needs a driving job, please come see me. But that's all I have unless you have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Murray.
Not anything for the agenda. I think our numbers are at 2460.
461.
61.
Yes.
So they've kind of leveled off for the past few weeks. One thing I do want to remind the principals that are listening in and parents that might somehow access this meeting. Part of the tier system changed this year. When you walk through the door on August the 7th or whatever that school started, you were already in tier 1 at that point. So at 5 absences, you moved into tier 2. At that point, you have to have a meeting with the parent. Now, what I'm finding out, and which we all knew this 2 years ago when they passed this piece of junk, that it was going to be this way, is getting a parent to come to school to have a meeting. So don't be quite as patient as you have been, because if they don't want to come to that meeting there, we'll have a meeting with Judge Cotton. So if they don't want to cooperate with what they're supposed to do, let me know, and Judge and me and the parents will have a meeting in his courtroom. In fact, I'll have 5 this coming Monday who did not show for meetings. So don't kill yourself trying to get these parents to come in. Make a reasonable effort, and at that point, just pass it to me. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Paulette.
Sorry, it took me a minute to get the mute button off. How are you all this afternoon?
We're good. Thank you.
I actually, again, I would like to give my condolences also for the Birchfield family, and also to Miss Carlene with the passing of her mother, Mildred. And I can outdo Miss Stanley. Brother Carl married my mother and dad, who's been married over 61 years. And he also married Wesley and I. So they were a great family. Also, I do have a couple things for the agenda. And one of the things is the Hobart contract for our dishwashers. They need to be renewed if the board sees that to pass this for us in January. They will be renewed for another year. There is no increase. And we have some dinosaurs in our system, and the only place we can get them is the maintenance people come in from Hobart. They call it going to the graveyard. So that's what keeps us functioning, and to me, it's well worth the money. And I'm asking the board to pass that and for us to renew this contract. Also, one of the things that I would like to ask the board is permission to increase the sub-cook pay from $8 an hour to $9 an hour. We are right now, we have 2 substitute cooks and It is hard for us to, at this time, to function without having staff members out and being able to provide these meals. And our staff is working themselves to the bones. And I feel like maybe if we can increase the pay, it will help us to get more people to come in and be willing to work. And once again, it would be increasing from $8 an hour to $9 an hour. And I would like to have that put on the agenda if possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Amanda, do you have anything?
Hello, yes ma'am, I do. I have a few items for the agenda tonight, and you all should have a copy in your folder. I have Federal Amendment number 5. This includes, we got a little over $1,700 extra for the ARP Homeless 2.0 grant. That's only will be used for homeless students. And then also the ELC grant is on there as well. And then the GP Amendment number 5, that only includes Mr. Shannon Spark money just to bring it in. So those budgets will be ready to start spending. And then the last thing you should have is a copy of the ELC grant and a copy of that budget. And then if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, about Mr. Shoemaker, is he with us? No. Okay. Mr. Hall.
Thank you. Go over for agenda items, because we do have some overnight trips we need to approve. That is in your packet. Also want to thank the board. We need to approve also the donation to the Humphrey School District. Speaking with the people down there and everything, I really thought that the gifts that you guys took somebody down there. So very appreciate everyone doing that, and especially for the tragedy that the Humphrey School District had faced this school year. Would like to have the board mark this on your calendar. On Tuesday, December the 14th at 11:30, we will have our Christmas lunch here for the Board of Education and related services here with the central office. Again, it'll be Tuesday, December 14th at 11:30. Mr. Murley mentioned earlier our attendance right now is at 2461. We saw it steady out, plus a little bit of an increase here the last couple of weeks. So hoping that we can continue with that. Reminder to everyone, on Tuesday, December 17th, that will be our abbreviated day for Scott County Schools. Buses will leave Scott High School at 10 o'clock. Again, abbreviated day on Friday, December 17th, and buses will leave Scott High School at 10 o'clock. As everyone has mentioned tonight also too, we're sending out our prayers to Miss Carlene and her family for passing of her mother. I know it affected many people in our school system with the tremendous family, so we really want to send the prayers out to Miss Carlene and her family. Also, when you lose someone within your school system, guys, it is a tragic loss, and it's a hard loss, and no one ever wants to get that call. Of course, we didn't get too many. And please keep the family of Brendan Phillips in your prayers, the virtual school, the staff, the students, administration, everyone involved. And as Mr. Cash mentioned also too, it touches the family in his school. So like I said, please keep at school, but all of that, our system, as we help each one get through their loss. Ms. Linda mentioned on January 3rd, be the in-service day of Scott County Schools. We come back from our Christmas break. Again, that is mandatory. And guys, also in your packet tonight, you have a drawings, a sketch from the Fairview Gymnasium. We have Mr. Alan Hill is here with Open Design. We have the plans kind of laid out. I think, Alan, if I'm not mistaken, we just got the 2 plans right now, what we looked at. Yes, correct. And we also went over, Mr. Hill, Mr. Shannon, myself went over and looked at the grounds. Also on there on the back page, you see projected, we looked at 2 sites, possibly where the gymnasium could be. Mr. Hill's here for any questions. Again, when this goes out to bid, he can give us an estimate. We will not know exactly until everything comes in, because you're gonna be dealing with probably some more out-of-pocket stuff when you deal with some excavating, some removal of some electrical poles, those type of things. Again, depending on where the building lies. So if you guys want to have any question, want to ask Mr. Hill, Mr. Hill, thank you for coming tonight, too, by the way. So before closing, I'd like to get any questions for Mr. Hill.
Just what are the big differences between the two plans? I'm looking at the measurements and the layout, but as far as just the main differences, what would you say?
The main differences are in the complexity of the dressing room area.
Okay.
On the first page that's labeled option 1 on the right-hand side, you see those are set up more as full locker rooms with shower facilities in the locker rooms. And the stage is elevated above the level of the playing floor. On the second option, they're more just changing rooms with locker space, but there's no shower or restroom space inside the locker room. There are 2 small individual restrooms that are outside that changing room area, and the stage area is at the floor level rather than being elevated. What we propose is to ask the contractor to price both of these options, and the board would be able to make a decision at that time as to which you would prefer.
Has anything been done with the soil yet for week?
No, sir. The week of December the 6th, we plan to have a soils engineer come to the site and do some drilling on the site to determine how good the ground is and what, if any, remedial soil work would need to be done. That will be done sometime that week, kind of depending on weather. We've got Monday, December the 6th penciled in, but it would be determined by what the weather is that day. On the third page, you see there are the site that shows 2 different locations. We don't know the characteristics of the soil in either one of those areas. So that may have some influence on where the building ends up being sited, depending on the amount of work required for soil remediation. The top left area or the northwest area, we'll have to have some imported fill to bring the elevation of the building pad up. But again, we're not sure what's underneath there, and there will probably be some site utilities that will have to be relocated if the building is put in that area.
Yeah, that's where the playground is.
That's where the playground is.
Yeah,
there's some overhead electrical there, and I don't think we have a good idea of where the natural gas service comes onto the site from. So we're not sure what's underground there.
Scott, what do you think?
Well, there's a couple of issues, I guess, as far as the building, the plan. I like the locker rooms with the bathrooms, and
It's option 1.
The option 2, with the way the bathrooms are, and I discussed this with Ms. Shannon, Mr. Hall, said I don't like necessarily. I don't like the bathroom replaced, which looks like this one's, you've changed this.
We've continued to,
Yeah.
after we've continued to.
Yeah, so that, I haven't seen that, not, as far as the placement, I like where the playground's at, because of the parking. Because if we put it back on the softball field in that area, it's, there's gonna be some parking issues, and which I thought Mr. Shannon had a good idea. We didn't get too far into it as far as pushing it back and maybe doing something there, but I do have my favorite, if it works out, would be where the playground's at. But I think, like Mr. Hill said, there's going to be a lot of excavate, a lot of dirt work, bringing in a lot of dirt. There'll be some utilities and electrical things that's going to have to be moved and adjusted. But that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of what I'm thinking, I guess.
That was mine. I like option 1. Jim, I don't like cutting stuff. I think we've done enough of that throughout the past. And
There's gonna have to build another gym.
exactly. There's no sense in not, we're gonna build this thing, we do it right. Okay? And make it work, get it where it needs to be.
What is the seating capacity of that?
See, right at 500.
Approximately 540 on the bleachers.
It's pretty much identical to what Huntsville,
Yes.
seating and Winfield probably also
Yes.
too.
This is very similar to Huntsville. We use that as a starting point for this design.
The option one is?
The option one would be very similar to Huntsville. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think option two is probably the seating, probably the same also too.
That's correct. The seating is.
You lose a little bit of like the locker room space and some things in there, you know, and the stage elevation, you know, it's really not a big deal to me, but you just lose some things in the locker rooms and all that. You lose bathroom space, lose some things in locker room space, as you can see. Like I say, guys, I mean, we build something for our kids, we need to do it right. You know, what biggest thing is, I guess, is cost comes in, and we will see from there. But as Mr. Cash said, when we walked over the side, the ideal spot is in the playground area, I feel. But again, we have to look at, like I said, once we get the soil, everything tested, we have to look and see cost of excavation and all that. So I mean, there are gonna be some additional things that we're looking at.
You don't realize it until you walk down there, but if it gets on the playground, you're gonna bring in a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
I
I mean, eyeball it, 8-10 feet. So when you sit on one end and look down on the other end.
It's gonna be a lot of work,
It's a lot of dirt.
a lot of dirt, a lot of, you know. But at the same time, I'm looking at it like, my side of things too is if where our parking lot's at, and people want to walk all the way around the other end of school.
Or take them through the school.
Or something, then, you know, you're gonna, there's gonna be a lot of people that A, can't do it, a lot of people that B, is not gonna like doing that. And I'm not gonna blame them, but at the same time, you know, there's pros and cons of both sites.
Well, let's work on the site.
And the thing is, like, you brought it up too, the soil may not come.
Exactly.
The soil may not come back in either place, you know, so kind of back to the square one then, if that happens.
The borings are scheduled to be done that week of December the 6th. We would have some idea very soon after
That's
that.
when
We
we'll-
probably won't even get a full report from the engineering firm for a couple weeks after that, but we would have, again, some idea pretty soon after it's drilled.
And I already talked to Mr. Chilcox too, and Mr. Hall, you know, I hate losing the playground, and I definitely hate losing that walking track. We discussed possibly working something out where we can fix the walking track back up, you know, because we do have a lot of community members.
Absolutely.
And use that facility, so.
Okay. Any more discussion?
We don't have to pursue both options. You know, if the board's wishes us to, we'll be glad to. If the board would like to just do one, we'll follow the direction of the board.
Gotcha, absolutely. You guys have a preference?
Option one.
Option
Thank you.
one.
Thank you. Let's roll.
Okay?
All right.
I will get information to you all as soon as possible after that soil boring is done, and we'll have more information about the site and can make a more informed decision on where it goes on the site.
Okay. Thank you, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you all.
And thank you for dinner.
Yeah, thank you for dinner,
Yeah.
yes.
And I think I can probably reiterate before I close, it's probably the best meeting that the TSBA has had. I think with the speakers and everything and just everything involved, and you really helped us to finish off a good evening. So we greatly appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Linda, did you have anything?
Yes, Mr. Bowles, would you care to tell everybody that's listening what procedures or what the requirements are to be a bus driver and that sort of thing?
You have to have a CDL license, Class B, with a passenger and a school bus endorsement. So.
And how do they go about
They
doing that?
need to contact me and I can direct them the right way. First thing they need to do is go online to the Tennessee Department of Safety website. There's an online CDL manual and they can start studying that. But they can contact me and I can direct them. And they need to hurry because come February, I believe it's 8th, the federal government has decided we can no longer train our own drivers. It's got to be classroom set up and all that. So there
We
is
need
a
you
time
now.
crunch.
We need you now, right?
We need you now.
And what would be the starting pay?
The starting pay is right at $70 a day.
Thank you. And Ms. Paulette, for your substitute cooks, how many hours a day is that?
Ms. Sharp, it varies. It can be anywhere, the least would be 5.5 to 7 hours.
Thank you. And Ms. Tanya and your Birchfield family, I certainly understand, and you have my sympathy in the Brennan family. It's so very sad. And I'm sorry for Miss Carlene and her loss, and now that her family's sick at such a bad time. You do have my prayers. You have anything, John?
Certainly condolences and prayers to the Terry, Jeffers, and Phillips families, and for Birchfield School, for what they're going through.
Yes, we're praying for all of you. Carlene's family, the Brennan Phillips family, and the Birchfield, the kids. I'm sure it's so very hard. Just very sad.
Condolences to Birchfield and Miss Terry's family.
George, I just want to say, I think we've been dealing with the bus driver situation for a long time now. If you have any recommendations that this board could do to maybe help attract some bus drivers and keep them, feel free to tell us. Maybe we can help you out.
I'm sure pay, I've heard other systems increase the price of the pay.
Yeah.
Try to get some drivers in. You get probably a better quality driver too.
Yeah.
As far as getting people in here.
We have gone from 66 a day, now start paying at 70
You
a
guys
day.
have
So
done
we're
tremendous.
getting there, yeah.
But there's other systems paying over $100 a day now.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if that will work in our budget or not.
We're always open to ideas, so we'll definitely listen to those if you have them. Also, the ELC grant, I was looking.
Yes.
I know we talked about it a little bit in the retreat, I believe. Is there any obstacles or challenges that we're going to face? That's a lot of money coming in. It seems like it's all great, but
it's tied on the COVID testing, basically. Honestly, right now, that's probably the biggest obstacle. We can do some things for supplies, equipment, even free up some money on the budget, for general purpose, at least for a year. This is 1 year.
Yeah.
Right now, I think as far as the COVID numbers are less, and I don't know exactly how much we will test, but we'll have that ability.
Yeah.
Right now, we're not doing any type of the new legislation's come through, no quarantining, so we won't be doing the contact tracing.
Okay.
But that being said, we always encourage if someone is symptomatic, get them somewhere to be tested, don't automatically. If when you bring them to school, call in. The nurse now has the ability to test, they can come up to the car and do it.
Yeah.
Okay? If we have time to do that, a lot of times depending on what's going on that morning, that evening, or some of that, but we will have that ability.
Yeah.
Like I said, and it will free up some things too that, especially for equipment, a lot of needs that can be done up there for that.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I went and got tested a while back, I don't know how much it cost, but I'm sure it might be a blessing to some people, maybe if we cover the cost rather than them having to go.
Well, it'll be no cost for students.
Yeah.
This is no cost for students.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there was I don't think it's in there, but there was a cost if a teacher or something like that did it, but I don't think it has been placed in the grant.
Okay.
I guess Mr. Van tell me more, but it's no cost for students. We have to set so much money aside out of this grant, which covers that testing. That's the biggest portion of it. Biggest portion of this right here will be to pay for the testing from what it costs the lab, to get the test, to read the test, and let us know.
Okay.
So That's the biggest portion of that comes to do that. About half of it, honestly.
And other than that, just condolences to the Phillips family and Carlene as well. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We have a lot of praying to do, so just remember those families.
Good job.
So we can go home. Good night, everybody.